mind you can't control. Running wild, can't calm down. My head is in the clouds. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now, do it like it's only today. We gotta party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. For a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. We gotta party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. For a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this.
Hey guys, please hit that thumbs up button as you're rolling in.
I'm on my last straw. I'm broken and I'm woken up. I'm done feeding your lies. I've had enough. I can't run your place in this faulty game. And all the words you speak mean nothing more to me. 'Cause let's start over now. Rewind. And I won't let you go. I need you by my side.
Thank you, Jessica.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown, but we both know how to swim. No worries, let's flow for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And then we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Today is July 5th, 2024, 4:40 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Hope you all had a great Independence Day here in America. Thank you all so much for joining me. So, yesterday we were covering a remains that was found out or in Hendersonville area, and it was described as 105-pound female. I started getting a bunch of emails this morning from someone who knows family members about this case, and there was a lot of people immediately thought, oh my gosh, they found someone. It might be Sebastion, but it is not Sebastion. And we knew that yesterday, as this person was described as a 105-pound female. Now, we do have a name for this person, 17-year-old Trinity Bostic. This just broke the news just right before I went live, actually. And so we're going to cover this, and it is expected to be foul play as well. Foul play. Jessica, I want to thank you so much for 4 months, my dear. Really do appreciate that. Always makes my day when Dustin goes live. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so much, Jessica, for 4 months. Really do appreciate that. Fly Girl, thank you so much for the gifted membership. That's awesome. Thank you so much for 2 months. Really do appreciate you. Um, so we're going to get into this. We're going to speak about Sebastian Rogers as well. I haven't been live like a whole lot the last few days. Um, I am going to start making video content as well and doing lives. So I will be doing video content about past cases and all of that. So I've been editing a lot um, the last couple days. So hang around for that for sure. But this is little Trinity, and we need to pray so much for her family right now. 17 years old, y'all. 17. Unlike, it's just absolutely horrible, really. Okay. So, Hendersonville, Tennessee, the Hendersonville Police Department is investigating after the remains of a 17-year-old girl was found near State Route 386 afternoon on Wednesday. Police said a subcontract worker with the Tennessee Department of Transportation was picking up trash along the roadside on Wednesday, July 3rd, when they discovered the remains in a small wood line near State Route 386, also known as the veteran uh, Vietnam uh, Vietnam, rather, Veteran Boulevard by New Shackle Road, New Shackle Island Road. Now, of course, we have heard New Shackle Island. If you've been in with this, case with Sebastian Rogers. Um, On Friday, July 5th, which is today, police identified the remains of those of a 17-year-old Trinity Bostic who was reported missing out of Macon County on Saturday, June 29th. So she had been missing, let's see here, that since the 29th. Hold on, let's see here. The 29th. 1, 2, 3, 4. So she had been missing, 4 days or so. She was reported missing June 29th. Well, let me fix my camera 1 second, y'all. Okay, there we go. All right. Investigators suspect foul play in this case as the investigation continues, according to police. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Hendersonville Police Department, 615-822-1111, or you can also call Crime Stoppers. You could absolutely remain anonymous as well at 615 594 4113. Tips can also be submitted using the P3 Tip mobile application. So this is little Trinity Bostic, 17 years old. Life was cut short. For what? We truly have no idea at this point. But I did get an email this morning. Bear with me as I find it here. And let me see here. Sorry, one second. This person said, I need your help. My friend was the girl found on the side of the road yesterday in Hendersonville. She was allegedly beaten beyond recognition, but the description and clothing is a match. She left 2 days ago. I think it was actually longer than that. Her phone pinged in Goodlettsville, if I'm pronouncing that right. They are doing DNA, but her sister says it's her. Obviously, they have identified her because it's out by the news. If you hear thunder and stuff, we're having a storm here. I pray that my electricity doesn't go off again. So her mother and siblings need answers. She is the youngest out of, I guess, all of the siblings. Just really, really sad. Now, I have been told that bear with me. I'm told that she may have went, and this is alleged at this time because I don't have 100% solid evidence, on this. She's 17, Jill. She's 17. That she may have went, kind of ran off allegedly with another guy. Again, that has not been set yet, right? But someone did something to this 17-year-old girl, and hopefully police will have some type of answers really soon. What I mean, it seems like they just did this to her, unalived her, and threw her out along the side of the road. Like, what is wrong with people anymore? What is wrong with people anymore? Um, let me see here. There was something else. Bear with me. WKRN. Okay, and that was from WKRN. There was something else. Bear with me. I'm trying to pull up my other email. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to email this person right now. So if they want to come in and speak, they're welcome to. She was on, yeah, she was 17. Okay. I'll show you a photo of, she comes, I think she has like a lot of siblings that, like I said, she was the youngest and she was 17. And I guess her siblings are older than her. Very tragic. Very, very tragic. Looks like all girls, 4 girls and a boy. Yeah, it's just like they threw her out. Hold on, what did Bo say? Was she found alive? Was Estefani found? I hope she was found okay. Please, I hope she was found okay. Here, let me look about that. Sometimes we think TBI is not doing anything, but you got to think these children going missing. Can you imagine the caseload? Okay, let me check on Estefani to make sure. Hopefully she was found. Okay. Let me know if she was found. You can email or you can text me any information you know about that as well. I did not know about her missing. No clue. Where was the news coverage? Um, Dina, on Trinity. My kids are in their 20s. You never stop being a parent. People, yeah, yeah. You never stop being a parent. Some people never start being a parent, though. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So we're gonna stay on this. As soon as we hear something, I'll let you guys know. But that's all we know right now is they are, I'm sure TBI is frantically searching Serenity. Which Serenity, my dear? Seems like there's a lot of Serenities. I've done so many cases on the name Serenity. It's crazy. Me too, Marlena. I pray Stefani's okay. Me too. So this is obviously Trinity right here. All right. The 7-year-old. Okay. It's very sad. Very sad. Um, did I get a text? 1 second. Okay. So yeah, someone just sent me something. Hey guys, she was found at 15 minutes ago. I'm not allowed to give any details as a thing, but she has been found. It sounds like she's been found alive, I would say. I mean, uh-oh. 1 second. 1 second. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay. So her stepsister writes, hey guys, she was found about 15 minutes ago. I'm not allowed to give any details as things are being prepared, but she has been found. Okay. So that's thank it's I mean, she didn't say either way, but she in my opinion, it sounded like she was, I guess, okay. I hope. I pray to God at least. You're talking about the other gun. Okay. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sure with that case then. May not be. So, all right. There is a lot. Who was found? Estefani? Yes. According to her stepsister, she was found. That's a very um kind of strange case, if you ask me. I'm glad she was found, and hopefully to God she is okay. Yeah, they'll remove her from the database. Yeah. A Serenity was found yesterday deceased. Wow. Okay. So I want to speak on this, what's going on in the Sebastian Rogers case. There there's so much going on in this case, so much that drama, that it's just insanity, which none of it has, in my opinion, anything to do with, much of with finding Sebastian. It's all crazy, if you ask me. But talking about Sebastian Rogers' scent, is there a scent? Is there not a scent? It depends who you ask, right? It depends who you ask. And maybe we'll get a little closer on this today. Maybe we won't. Now, law enforcement has said there is nothing, any sort of evidence that Sebastion is anywhere, right? Um, and I know that Chris and there is others who have said that there is the dogs did lead them to the retention pond. So let's look at some maps and let's look at what is going on here. It's everyone has their right there. Is it or is it not? So if you see here in the yellow, each one of these yellow and white spots has a camera or or rather has at least one camera or at least one doorbell that is attached to their house, to their property. And this shows you that there is a lot of cameras and a lot of Ring doorbells in this property or in this neighborhood, right? And really, the only way Sebastion could have left without being seen on camera is if he followed this red, the red lines, which is would quite be impossible if you ask me. Um, I don't think it's very likely that he would have followed a red line like this. But the yellow and the white, dots, those are all cameras or Ring doorbells, at least one. Okay. Now, I know that others have said that they're, hold on, where'd it go? Others, did I throw it off? Others have said that, why is it not working now? 1 second. Let me refresh it. Others have said that, there is this trail that a dog or two, I don't know how many that, they've said, but there's been dogs that went straight to the retention pond. Now, I will be the first to tell you that I don't know a lot about dog scent. I've read on it, but I'm not a dog handler, anything of that nature. Right. And so here is from where Sebastian's house is. It's supposed to cut through the middle of the yard, back into the common area, around into this yard and over, right? And then over to the retention pond where it is now, right? At least 3 cameras should have picked him up with the map, and likely 6 if you follow the red lines. Absolutely. There should have been. It picks up every other thing that night, right? Picks up people moving with flashlights, but there is no Sebastian. None. at all. Okay. So what I've done is I have overlapped this. Okay. And we got to remember, don't worry about the red line. Only worry, this is where, Sebastian's house is, this faint line. Okay. Now, if Sebastion, right, is over in this area, there would be a slew of cameras where this red line is that would have picked up Sebastion. We don't know what the cameras picked up. Could have been others. Well, law enforcement has said that there has been no sight of Sebastion. None. So we do know that there is nothing, no camera has picked him up in the neighborhood. Listen, this young man doesn't go walk out of a house and not take a road. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine walking through? You're going to always walk the most comfortable, especially if you're barefooted, right? You're going to walk the most comfortable way possible. And that's going to be, you know, probably the road or close to a road, not barefoot on grass. Exactly, Soldier Girl. They're playing this game so they can decompose and never be found. I feel my heart. I think he's in heaven. No, I agree, Janice. I don't think I think it would be a major miracle if Sebastian is found alive at this point. And that's just being honest, right? Did anyone ever say if Katie's car had been seen coming home from restaurant? Yes, it had been. It had been seen coming home from the restaurant. But the thing is, you couldn't tell who was driving it, who was in the car. And it did pull into the garage. So, but if you're walking, if this red line is the path that this dog or other dogs may have took, supposedly leading to the retention pond. Why did it? And I can also tell you this. Um, there is houses here and over here that record constantly, not motion detected, right? A lot of security cameras only record when there's motion, but then there are those that record constantly, right? And it goes into a DVR, I think it's called a DVR, or like a hard drive or a cloud, and it records constantly. So you can't really say, oh, well, the motion didn't pick it up. Just because some of them are motion activated does not mean all of them are motion activated. And I can tell you that the ones here, right here, right, and right here are not motion activated. Yes, there are trail cameras as well. Yes. So, that's another thing. Out looking for a vehicle, but wonder. So there's that. I feel like this was premeditated. I never felt like it was premeditated until started to consider it recently because of those phones being turned off, 2 phones being turned off and a landline being turned off the day after Chris leaves and doesn't allegedly come back. Uh Toby, thank you so very much, my dear. Let me find my button here. Thank you so Christmas. That's amazing, Toby. Congratulations. Aw, makes my heart happy. That's the best. Everyone says grandkids are the best. In my opinion, everyone is talking about the wilderness because the IC cameras didn't show him, but showed parents' vehicles. Yeah, I mean, you can see Katie from, the neighbors that I've spoke with. You can see Katie, you know, the trash truck runs, goes to the round, right? Comes back up, goes up the hill. You can see it allegedly go up the hill from what I understand. And then you see Katie going out and the bus coming in, and then Katie coming back in, and then a little bit later, the police coming in. Now, from 6:03, I mean, let's think about this. If Katie was left at 6:02 or 6:03, right? And she doesn't get back home for what time do we know what time Katie gets back home? Was Katie on the phone outside that morning? Don't know. Don't know. Carmelita says, yes, I'm on the premeditated train, which makes me sick and more angry. Yes, because premeditation is an extra layer of evil. It is an extra layer of evil. And that's why I have been kind of not on the premeditated train. I feel like this is something that happened very unexpectedly, meaning someone snapped or something to that effect. Yes. Yes. And yeah, and then also, as soon as that trash runs, Katie's vroom, vroom, vroom out of there, right? Squealing tires. So there's that. Oh, Toby, thank you so much for gifting the pearl necklace. Thank you for your support, my dear. Really do appreciate it. If you received that pearl necklace, please thank our beloved Toby. Very sweet. She's going to be a new grandma. Thank you so much, my dear. Still waiting to. Well, and then there's this thing about Chris being home allegedly. What was it? Friday evening into the weekend playing this poker game, right? And supposedly got in trouble doing this poker thing. Now, what could have he gotten in trouble at? Like, what was it that got him into trouble? Allegedly got him into trouble. was, you know, Chris and Katie and Sebastion over at this house. Hey, Silver. Hey, Mimi. All about. Could anything could have gotten him in trouble knowing Chris? Well, yeah. I mean, this kid forgets his belt, and gets whipped. Hey, True Sleuth, my love. Question: why would you take your child to a poker game? Anyway, that's a question. Right, right. He probably got peed off. He was losing and cursed someone out. According to Katie, she was on the phone with Chris. So if she was outside without her phone, that would be a problem. Well, I'll be honest with you. You know what I think? I don't think Katie was on the phone with Chris. Hey, Grace. I don't think Katie was on the phone with Chris. I don't. If she was on, had to be something, had to be something else. Had to be something else. Because because Chris said, hurry up, they're on their way. Well, she had to have some type of device. Let's think about this a minute. She had to have some type of device for Chris to tell her that, right? So, was it a burner? Lights were off. He would be known. Molly says, I hope you don't mind for the question. If the Proudfoots wasn't home, how could he tell Nancy that the lights were off? How would he know that for a fact? How did he know his wife didn't have them on? Exactly. Exactly. And Molly, that's a great point, because you hear uh Ch- Nancy asked Katie, is there any lights on? And she's like, yeah, there's just little garden lights on, just like the little LED, solar, or the solar lights on, which produce virtually no light. And then Chris is like, oh no, you had the lights on outside. Well, they're not motion activated. So that means Katie would have had to turn them on. And how do you know, Chris, if Katie turned them on? You don't, because you weren't home, right? That's a problem. Big problem. Truthfully, poker games often goes late into the hours or early into the morning. So if Sebastian was there and was tired, he may have been really irritable and uncooperative. Perhaps. Could it have been Sebastian's switch? It could have been anything, but she would have to have some type of internet access from her car. Now, if she had like a hotspot, like a portable hotspot, if her car has internet, which I don't think Infinity's her model has them, to be quite honest with you. I could be wrong on that. I'll have to check. Maybe she was driving around looking, trying not to panic before she called and went home as soon as they were dispatched. Maybe she was driving around looking, trying not to panic before she called and went home. Well, no, because Chris tells her get back to the house, they're on their way. You are supposed to be on a 3-way call with Katie, Chris, and the non-emergency phone number. So if you're on 3-way with him and the non-emergency or dispatch says, we're on our way, Chris doesn't have to say, hurry up and get back home. They're on their way, because Katie heard that, right? Do not know what the poker game was and who was just come back on. Well, there was this, Terry says that she knows that there was a poker game there because she spoke with someone that was at the poker, at the poker game, right? One second. But this could have been planned. Chris wanted him gone, and the in-laws was seen at the store this morning. A little sus. Yes, I need to know who the person is that saw these Bauer Foots at that store that morning. How many times did either KP or CP unconsciously indicate that CP was home that weekend? Yeah, because Katie, just in that one interview, it's always he was like, he was. What does that mean, Katie? Yeah, suppose about this Danny guy's house. They expected him to go to be perfect, but they didn't provide him with any tools for his life, in my opinion. Well stated, Holly. Well stated. They nor I just don't think that they had patience with him, right? A lot of times kids just buck back because they feel like they're not being listened to, they're not being heard. And just sitting down with your kids, talking to them, speaking to them one on one can help so much. Really, just let them know that they're heard. That goes for any relationship. Usually you're talking over each other. Like, a lot of things happen on YouTube. You're just talking over each other. You're not understanding each other. You're not there to understand each other. You're there just to prove each other's points, right? But really hearing one another uh, can really, really change a lot. Wait, didn't they say the trash truck come later as it was causing issues with school bus and interfering? It came earlier. Earlier. The trash truck starts at the beginning of the road at 5 a.m., I believe it was. If KP waited until trash truck was gone, timeline is off. Now, from what I understand, maybe I should pull that up. Or maybe I should pull this up. My opinions, there is no damn way a child left walking, yet not 1 cent inciting anywhere on any cameras. That's what I'm saying. Lil Red, look at this. All of these white dots are at least one camera or a Ring doorbell. And listen, if he walked off in this let me do it like this. If he walked off in this, like this red line, first of all, do you know how many cameras would have picked him up? Not, like I said, not just the ones that come on with the motion activated. There are cameras right here that record 24/7. Not, it has nothing to do with motion. Right there on the corner. And I would love to know what one of these houses got. Not, I mean, we know a lot more about this house right here on the corner, but like one of these houses right here, specifically one of these two, because they got that, they have a lot more information, in my opinion, than we know. I think it really got the car or truck or whatever it is that was there. Faye says, I remember the very first month, a coworker of CP said before he got muted that on Friday 2/23, when they were finishing work, CP told him that he was going home for the weekend. Really, Faye? Hmm. That's interesting. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for him. Oh, you're fine, little red, honey. It just doesn't make sense for a man to stay all weekend in his camper when he can be with his wife. I mean, obviously, you love each other so much to, speak on the phone for hours at a night, right? Like, there's that much shit to talk about in the world. I mean, you don't talk to each other like, I mean, who talks to their significant other for 2 hours? Get alive. I'm sorry. Those are those spotlights on back of the house could be where we see those two people. Those had spotlights on the back of the house. I don't know what you mean, Grace. Which spotlights? It got really bad ugly in the house sometimes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me pull up JLR's. Um, 1 second. JLR investigates. Make sure you are subbed up to JLR, people. If you're not, JLR is extremely hard working. Very good guy. And he really works his butt off to constantly give the news. How long ago was that interview? Okay, there it is. I got it. All right. So I'm going to share the link on the replay. Bear with me. I need to turn on my channel where it's not commercials. I want to look at that because that just made me think of something. All right. Credit JLR investigates. Let's see what Bobby says here. Here you go, mods. I'll put JLR's link for y'all in the description or in the chat as well. Okay. We're gonna need to check out some times here.
Kids, you never saw him out riding his bike. I mean, now I'll tell you this. I mean, we have neighbors that go out, like I said.
You know something? Bobby is not the only one that has said that. Like, they said any neighbors that I have spoken to said they never saw Sebastion outside. But Katie and Chris says that was his favorite thing to do. Favorite thing to do is to be out and play on playgrounds. Right? Did he have a bike? Did she ever take him, skating or anything? Like, anything like that. Like, he wanted friends, and that's a good way to gain
And walk their
friends.
dogs every single day, sometimes even twice a day. You have kids that will go out and play basketball. We have a basketball goal in one of the cul-de-sacs. Kids will come up and play basketball in the basketball goal. They'll walk, ride their bike. We have one kid that has a four-wheeler and a dirt bike, and he rides around, that kind of thing. Didn't even know Sebastion existed. Never played with anybody.
No friends, nothing.
Never had any friends over their house.
How long was, because I heard that Seth was there for a few days staying with the Proudfoots. Did you hear that?
I did. Well, I saw his, I didn't know he was staying in their house, but I saw his truck there every single day when I heard that he had stayed in their house for 3 days, I was shocked. I didn't realize he had actually stayed in the house and then they said 3 days. I'm like, well, that's odd, because his truck was parked on the curb of the street for about a week. But I didn't know he was actually there, because he was out searching. Like, he was actually at the command center for the first week.
Yes, and that's a good point, Soldier Girl. A 3-hour phone call had to be about Sebastion and alibi or something. I think it had to be something related to that. I think it had to be something related to Sebastion, because remember, why are they talking for hours when they're supposedly, like, kind of taking a distance, a break from each other, when they're supposedly fighting all the time?
Week, every day, all day long. Seth was.
Not Chris and Katie. Chris and Katie?
Oh, no. They never left their house.
Never
Not that I'm aware of.
But any flyers, go to door, to speak with neighbors, ask them if they've seen anything? Nothing.
No.
Wow.
Nope.
That is so Miss Bobby. So do you?
And the only.
Go ahead.
So Seth was actually going door to door in the neighborhood, but Chris and Katie, no bueno. Nothing. It's their damn neighborhood, right? They should be knocking.
I was just going to say, the only thing that they even put on Facebook was that one post,
which eventually got deleted.
Theirs didn't. The original neighbor that was asking, hey, what's all the commotion on Stafford? That person deleted their post.
Gotcha.
Katie's is still up there.
Were the Bowerstocks around at all during that week? Yeah, I know you said that they were there that morning. Did they look around? Did they look around?
No, we never saw anybody. None of them ever looked in our neighborhood where I'm at. I never seen any of them walking around at all, period, ever. Seth, Chris, Katie, Bowerstocks, none of them ever. I never even met them. I had one encounter with Chris one night. And after, never saw him, never met him, nothing.
The Chris encounter, you mind sharing? I think we talked about this offline a little bit.
Yes,
Just ask me.
okay, so I'll kind of share a little bit of that. This was what day was it? Thursday, I think it was. I think it was Thursday. That Thursday night.
It's at
Now,
9:43.
mind you, our neighborhood is on pins and needles.
Right.
Um,
And Microdot, that's what I said. It's actually a 2-hour phone call. We call it the 3-hour phone call, but 9:46 till, he said, just before midnight. So I'm just going to say 9:46 to 11:46. 2 hours. 2 hours. If Chris was home. Yeah, I mean, it seems more like he should have been home. But again, people, let's talk about it. What about, why are authorities asking about the weekend before Sebastian goes missing? Why? Why? And Chris says he can't talk about it. Why can't you talk about it? If your ass is planted in Mississippi, it has nothing to do with you, right? If he walked out on his own accord, like Chris and Katie are saying, and your ass is in Mississippi, why does it matter? That's the question. Why? And in my opinion, they are looking for someone.
Don't know what happened to this kid. Don't understand. Law enforcement's, coming up and around. We've got every department that I didn't even know existed. Like I said, I didn't even know we had a SWAT team. I didn't know we had, drone footage. I didn't know we had any of this stuff. I mean, we're, a small county. I had no idea. Not a small county, but you know what I mean? Like, we're away from like the big crowd, the city. Never had any issues. So I didn't even know that any of this stuff has existed. So we were all kind of on pins and needles. And so anything weird, let me go back a little bit and say the night before this is the reason why this happened. The night before this, I had went to work that night. I think I did something. I wasn't home for some reason. My son was on our back deck. Now our back deck faces the construction, the back of the construction. And so he was on the back deck talking to somebody, and he looks out and he says, "Well, that's really weird." And she said, "What?" And he said, "Look at the light out there." And there was a flashlight. It was kind of a dim flashlight, but you could see it because it's pitch black dark. And he said, "Why is there a flashlight over there?" It was one single flashlight, and it was like walking in the back, kind of over in the back of the woods area. And it like walked around, stopped, walked around a little bit, stopped, and then just disappeared in the back of the woods. And so
Another dim flashlight. Very interesting. We're going to play Bed Crime Stories. Make sure you are subbed up to Bed Crime Stories. Let me tell you something. She is such a beautiful person inside and out. I love Bed Crime Stories. Love her. And she does great content as well. Truth Sleuth wanted me to play this. So let me see here.
I think he was on the panel for the whole show. One of the things that he was asked was if his mother was out and about in Hendersonville on the morning that Sebastion went missing. Eventually, Chris replied that he did call his mother, Kathy Bowersox, that morning so she could go be with Katie Proudfoot, because of course Chris was away in Memphis working, and it's a 3-hour drive home. Well, that's the first time I've heard Chris admit that his mother was with Katie that morning. When asked if he thought Seth could be responsible for Sebastian's disappearance, Chris emphatically said no, and he added that Seth was at work. I hope this helps shut down chatter about Seth possibly being involved. Even Chris Proudfoot says that Seth could not be involved. Now, the Chris Proudfoot that turned up for this show on Saturday was a very different Chris Proudfoot to the one that we heard on the call with the private investigator, Heather Cohen. Could Chris be learning from the criticism that he's received over his past YouTube appearances? Chris didn't threaten or insult Seth or the private investigator Chloe on this show on Saturday, but of course he was on a panel where people celebrate him. They tell him that they really respect him. They tell him what a good stepfather he was. They tell him what a wonderful husband he is because he's so protective of Katie. Personally, I do think that he's not a changed man. I think he's simply adapting based on what he's heard about.
Yes, Chris does adapt, because I caught him saying that, oh no, if someone walked up, because someone was saying one day, well, Chris, what if someone walked up to the door, and tried to lure Sebastian out? And Chris said, oh no, the cameras would have caught that if someone walked out to the door. And then I'm thinking, well, if someone walked up to the door, that means if someone walked out of the door, it's going to pick them up as well. And we know that it'll pick up motion all the way down from the driveway. The whole house is seen on the camera from the neighbors, right? So it'll pick up right where the driveway is, where the trash is. But he's like, no, if someone walked up to the door, it would have been seen on camera. And then the next day on a panel, he said, oh, I never said anything like that. And he's trying to adapt. He's definitely adapting, which is what they do. They watch us and the bullshit that we point out that they say, Chris and Katie. Well, there we go. He's just adapting.
About himself. And again, there was no criticism of him on this show. I will say it was hard for me to listen to this show because there was a lady on the panel telling him what a great father he is, how much she admires him and Katie. That woman clearly either doesn't believe Chris's ex, Nina Gomez, about what she experienced when married to him. Lady also perhaps was not offended by Chris Proudfoot's very offensive language on that call with Heather.
I was muted. That was my first mute of the day. Let me reread that. Kimberly says, sent you an email this morning regarding info I heard about Sebastian's case that many seem to know. Haven't heard you mention it, but you may know. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for 2 months. Really do appreciate it. Can you tell me which email you sent it to? I'll look.
Cohen. And what was really interesting is that at one point, Chris talked about how little kid gamers sometimes show up, when people are gaming and they use the most offensive language. And I thought that was pretty interesting, given the language he used in the call with Heather Cohen. It doesn't get any more offensive than the language he used. So it was sort of interesting to see him criticizing these kids and saying, oh, you can't imagine the foul language they use. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can, Chris. In fact, you could teach one of those master classes on using foul language. In other news on the case, there's more drama behind the scenes. Gray Hughes Investigates apparently showed up into Smiley Stories World chat, or her comments rather. Smiley wrote in her community post, "Let me just leave this here for this ass wipe. YouTube does not like that word. Who approves of all abuse and will let me leave it here. Stay out of my comments, Gray." And here's a separate note that she wrote to Gray. Actually, it is what it.
All right. So, live stream, a caller, he wasn't supposed, listening to a live stream about Sebastion and a caller, and he wasn't supposed to be with Katie the weekend he went missing, if was Seth's weekend. He also said that he gave, I don't think it was Seth's weekend. I think it was Seth's weekend was the weekend prior to that, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure Seth's weekend was prior to that. That really wasn't Seth's weekend. Seth's weekend was prior, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I may be wrong on that, but let me know. 15, 16, 17, Seth had Sebastion. So, which was, they switched weekends. Seth had him the weekend before. He also said that he never gave a reason for swapping. I've never heard that before. I feared if it may be like the caller who on a different creator and swore he had footage of a trail cam of Kathy Bowersox at a school near Katie at 5:45. I don't believe anyone has a video of Kathy with Bauer. I just don't think so. Like a trail cam of Kathy? I mean, that would be the only report that I came across that indicated that CP talked to his mom the morning of Sebastion case. Well, the question is, when did Chris or Katie call the Bowerfoots? Right? When did they call the Bowerfoots? Yes, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up button, would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. It's a free way to help and get the word out there. Was the three-way between Chris, CP, and Mrs. Sox. I don't know, but, Chris's sister said that they had been looking for Sebastion since 6:30. So you guys made it there before the police and before, dispatch even dispatched it? That's odd. Kathy, Terry, and Melissa plus one other was there at the house with Kathy when police arrived. That's a problemo.
So he called me and he's like, "What do I do?" And I said, "You need to call law enforcement. Like, call the number." We had a flyer, one of those flyers. And I was like, "You need to call the TBI and tell them and figure out what to do with that." He did. And nothing. No phone call back. No, nothing. Nothing. Just, "Okay, thanks for the letter." I'm like, "Okay, that's awfully weird." I mean, you would think that they would come check that out or call you back and ask you.
Yeah, follow-ups.
Exactly, Butterfly.
Nothing. No, they didn't even call him back to ask him.
That's exactly what I said, because they live like 30 minutes away. How in the hell Do they make it there in 30, you know, they would have that would have been, she would have had to have called the Bauerfoots and family even before she called Chris, saying that Seth or Sebastion was not in his bed, right? Or they had to be very close by.
I'm like, exactly where are you? You know, what did you see? Nothing. Nobody ever followed up or nothing. And so he was like, that's really weird. And I was like, yeah, that is weird. I mean, with a missing kid, you would think they would be coming flying up here to figure out who that was. So it was the following night. So now, of course, we're all like, you know, even more in pins and needles. Like, is people just going to just start walking around our neighborhood in the middle of the night like they're pitch black dark in the night? And so uh, he was coming home. We were all at home and still looking around and talking to neighbors and figuring out like what the heck is going on. And he comes home and walks in the door and is like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, now what? And he said, there's two people, a real tall, skinny guy and a real small, it looks like a girl maybe, that is walking up our street. Now, we do have families that will come out and walk their dogs at night before they go to bed, but they had no dog with them, no nothing. And the strangest part about this was this guy was wearing dark black, wide, like ski goggles. You've been in my neighborhood. It is, you can't see your hand in front of your face. It is so dark at night. It was
Scary.
9 o'clock at night. Why is somebody walking with these big black goggles? How can they even see? Well, with everything going on, I'm thinking, okay, that's very suspicious. I got to check on that. Yes, I could have called law.
There are glasses. There are types of glasses that I mean, it's not really night vision, but there's glasses that can make things brighter as well at night. They're not night vision, they're just glasses as well. But that's so weird. That sounds like someone, like they have like the hunting night vision. You know what I'm talking about? Some people do hunting in the night, right? It's so weird. That's very weird.
Enforcement. And
I
that's
don't
what
talk
was
about that
said. You
enough.
should have called law enforcement. However, I didn't want to call law enforcement on my own neighbor. If it was a neighbor out walking around, I didn't want to be rude and call law enforcement on my neighbor. So I told my son, I said, you know what? Let's go. He's got a Jeep that's got a bunch of lights on it. And I said, let's drive down there and turn your lights on and see if you can see somebody out there walking. I said, I'll call law enforcement and let them know what we're seeing, and then we'll just turn around and go back home. I wasn't going to follow them. I just wanted to see if I could find them. So we're driving down my road. We turn up Stafford because we couldn't find them. Like, well, maybe they went up Stafford. We went up Stafford. Now my son's Jeep is loud. And so but I didn't even think about it. I was more focused on who this person was. So he drives up Stafford and he says to me, hey, while we're up here, where's Sebastian's house? And I'm like, oh, we just passed it. So he turns around and goes back down, and we're going slowly because I was trying to point out Sebastian's.
I mean, can you imagine someone in your neighborhood like that's walking around with night vision goggles? That's creepy as hell. Anybody would be
House.
like, what
And
the
so I
hell?
pointed it out. And he's like, oh, okay. And so we drive back around and we're driving back down.
Yes, it is against the law to do that at night. But again,
To the other side of the
do it.
neighborhood, or another cul-de-sac. And he said, wait a minute. Didn't you say that this other neighbor has a Ring camera? And I said, yes. And she's the one that saw the silhouette in the window and the lights in the house go on and off and whatever. She's like, but that doesn't make any sense, because if that house is located here, how can she have seen over here? And I'm like, okay, go back up the street and I'll show you. So we went back up the street to show him where that house was versus this and all the whole thing. And as we were coming back up, we kind of stopped. Now, this is my neighborhood. I'm not a suspicious person. This is my neighborhood. I should be able to do whatever I want to, right? So I stop, or he stops a little bit. I'm pointing at our houses out, and we drive out. And I said, Sean, I said, honey, we got to go home. And he's like, why? And I said, because
Oh, that Bobby. Got you. Yeah. Yeah.
somebody's standing at their front door. He was like, oh crap. And so, and I did not, God
Sheila,
honest truth, I never meant to upset anybody. It was truly just me trying to figure out what's going on. Never meant to upset anybody. Turn around, Stafford. I'm coming back down, and Chris is now, mind you, I've never met this man, never seen him before. I wouldn't even know who he is. Matter of fact, I thought he was law enforcement. Stands in the middle of the street and puts his hand out and stops, just like this. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And I'm thinking it's law enforcement. I'm like, oh crap, we're about to get in trouble because they're going to think that we're looking for this kid or something. So roll down the window, and he comes around and he stands there just like this. And it's like, what are you doing out here?
can you imagine, Chris? If CP sealed the CPS report and Seth had to get an attorney to unseal it, I imagine Nina has no access to the information prior to their CPS hearings either.
And I'm like, holy crap. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We were looking for, and I told him what happened and told him the whole story. And he was like, why wouldn't you just call law enforcement? I said, because I don't want to call law enforcement on a neighbor if they're out walking around. That's kind of rude. And he's like, well, you have no business driving around here, and started telling me in a very intimidating, very strong voice, I guess.
Julie, thank you so very much for becoming a Pearl, my dear. Welcome to the family. Your exclusive, world-renowned Pearl now. Welcome to the family. Y'all, please welcome Julie K as our newest Pearl family member. Thank you so much, my dear. Neighbors called the cops on an old Chinese dude lurking in the night. My husband lost his RC helicopter. I think CP and KP knows what's going on. Just my opinion. They know what happened to the baby. I mean, I don't see how the hell someone couldn't know, right? I mean, we have a mother who is still not speaking about her son. And we need to find Sebastion. Like, guys, it is so important. So important we find Sebastion. Otherwise, I think this is going to be, love you too, Julie. Please wish my sister Jacqueline. Jacqueline, happy birthday to you. Happy belated birthday, I should say. Good to see you, dear. Thank you so much. I'm now reviewed my second month. Woohoo! Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you so much. Did either of them mention the garage thing? Or so the garbage thing. Did either one of them mention the garbage thing? I don't know what you mean by that, my dear. I'm going to call you Janet. Janet, thank you so much for becoming a world-renowned Pearl. Appreciate you, my dear. Welcome to the family. Really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Y'all, please welcome Janet as our newest Pearl member. Thank you so much, Janet. Hi, Justin. I'm glad you're replaying this. I mean, to review what she's saying about the garbage pickup from Proudfoot House that morning, but have been busy with the holidays. Thank you so much, Patty. Thank you for being here. Not speaking about her son. And entertainment stepdaughter for summer. How does your heart allow that? Yeah.
She would say, big tough, he's a big guy, kind of thing. you know that my son is missing, and they've got police all around here looking. I said, yeah, no kidding. I know, I'm aware. I've been talking to him. Trust me, I know, I get it. And then he said, there's a police. What do you, the heat sensor mobile unit things. You know what I'm talking about? That can detect heat sensor and stuff. Well, they had one of those up in the top, hoping that if he came home, it would alert law enforcement that there was somebody walking around.
Up in the top of what? What does she mean up in the top? It's a street, it's public property. I'm pretty sure when Chris stopped my vehicle in the road, my response would have been looking for your kid. Why aren't you? Goodbye. Bingo, Thompson. Exactly. Exactly. Nicolina. Hey, baby. Good to see you. Hope you are well, my doll. Which part? Which part? Nicolina. That's gonna be stuck in my head all day. It's a catchy tune. It really is. That's so funny. Anything on the person in Hendersonville? Pearl Girl, they did find a 17-year-old that was there yesterday. That was found on the road yesterday. They did it is a young 17-year-old named Trinity Bostic. It is alleged that she one second. It is alleged that she why is she not? It is alleged that she ran away with a guy. That's what I'm hearing at the moment, but that is just alleged at this point. Yes, we see you, Debbie. We sure do. Maybe the thermal attached to the trim of the home. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on one second.
Which I don't get that, because you've got families that are walking dogs anyway. So anyway, so I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I kept apologizing to him, and he got really upset and, kind of said some things. And I was trying to calm him down, and I apologize. And my son's girlfriend was in the back, and she thought that if she rolled the window down and said, I am such and such, and I go to your son's school, that he would calm down. Even though I said, hey, I'm your neighbor. I live up there. Everything's fine. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you. I thought even me telling him I was his neighbor would calm him down. It's like he just glossed right over that. He didn't care. So she says, I'm such and such, and I go to school with your son. And he stops mid sentence to me and said, oh, and got like stopped, looked at her and said, your name? And she said, yes, sir. Like, how do you know? She only gave him her first name, and he said the whole thing. And she was like, how do you know my name? And I was like, what the crap? I looked at my son. I said, we need to go. We just need to go. We just need to go. And I'm like, I'm going to call the police, because this is getting, I don't know. I don't understand. I wish you could have, I can't describe. His body language was just very
It wasn't
stern.
like,
You're right, Holly.
well, for that people were out there looking for his son or thing. It was more like trying to stop.
Get off my street. Get off my street. Get out of here. Get off my street. Go home. Leave me alone. Get away from us.
Now, a lot of the neighbors, they do not want to speak because of multiple reasons. Some of them, it's very uncomfortable for them because obviously Chris and Katie are neighbors, right? And they don't want to get in the YouTube chutzpah of all of this, you know how YouTube is as well.
But he told her that So you're the girl that runs this Facebook group and this, that, and the other. I'm going to demand you take that off. You get your phone. And he said, where are your parents? And she said, at my house.
I mean, there are people who's actually scared. They're actually scared. Right? They say they just want them gone. Like, go. Something law enforcement got a warrant to search the landfill on the 8th day, right? Wasn't the 8th day Sebastion was missing their first interview? I don't know. Let me look at that. Their first interview was, I'll have to check the date of that first interview. That's a good question. Landfill search was day 11. Tell him, Nick. You tell him.
House. And he said, well, I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to come knock on their door and we're going to have a conversation.
Judy Grandstrand, thank you so much for your super sticker, my dear. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like your I don't know if that's your last name, but I like that name. I like that. Thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate your support.
And she said, okay, good luck with that. And I was like, you know what? Look, we don't want to, cause any issues and whatever. I try to give him grace. Don't know the man from nowhere. And I just kept saying, he's upset.
Aw.
His son's missing. He's really
I
upset. He's
love
very
Terry.
defensive. Maybe that's just all that what it was. Now that I've seen some of his YouTube videos.
I love Terry. I mean, that woman, she searches her ass off. She does. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand people. Like, I just don't. The only thing Terry does is search, right? It doesn't mean you have to agree with her on everything, but just appreciate that she's out there searching. That's all. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything she says. Nobody is saying that. But I'm really appreciative that she is literally the only one out there searching for Sebastion right now. That's it. That's it. They are streaming Get on their chat. Isn't that against YouTube rules? I don't know what you mean by that, my dear.
And I'm like, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know the back end of those details. I know we talked before offline a little bit. And you said, kind of like a confrontation kind of deal. It confronted you guys, but I didn't know those like back end details that you shared. Somebody in the chat, Smiley's World, was asking, prior to the February 26th, right, when Chris arrived home, did any neighbors or anyone that you heard, whether you see it, but you said you had never.
I can tell you this. Every neighbor that I have spoke to believes that something is wrong here. Something is not right. Every single neighbor that I have spoken to, they will just say something is not right. Something is not right. Something is not right. Something is not right. And I think that speaks volumes. I really do. I think that speaks volumes. They just say, I don't know, but if he walked out of that door, he would have been picked up. He would have been picked up on camera. Everything else that night was picked up on a camera, right? They never socialized with the neighbors, and they never let Sebastian out of the house. I mean, there are some people that just don't socialize with their neighbors, right? They don't speak to them. They just live in their home or whatever. I don't really blame them for that. You know what I mean? Because everyone's different. I speak to mine, but uh the thing that gets me is there just wasn't anything for like they Sebastian wanted friends, and just being able to possibly hang out with the neighbors kids that's around his age uh would have been good, in my opinion. That's all he wanted was friends. um and I mean, I think kids are more accepting when they're not in school than probably when they are in school, right? So I just think that he would have, a lot of the kids would have liked to been friends with him there. Yeah, hey Jude, I can just tell you that every person that I have spoke to, as far as uh locals, people in the neighborhood, have said something is wrong. Something is wrong. I think CP accused Sebastian of doing things CP was doing. It's very interesting. I mean, he I think it was in Duchess interview, they said, I don't know if it was a question in the chat or whatever, but it was brought up. Why don't you want your or Sebastian around your daughter? And he says, that is an issue I'm not willing to talk about or whatever. Like that's a family matter or something like that. And I'm thinking, I mean, whenever you get married to someone else, right? And you both have kids, well, you can't just get rid of their child just because you want to. It's, Chris has gotten rid of so many animals already, right? All the dogs and cats and snakes and everything else. It doesn't work like that with kids. Doesn't work like that. I'm also telling that CP automatically assumed Sebastian had nothing in common with other kids. He still liked Minecraft. My son's 15 and has a monetized YouTube channel about Minecraft. That's way to go, Paper Cut. That's good.
Or knew him prior. Did anyone ever say anything about him being
I
around?
mean, there are kids that speak nothing but Minecraft, right? That's all that they care about is Minecraft, Minecraft, Minecraft. That's all they're going to talk about from beginning to end. Beginning to end is Minecraft, Minecraft, Minecraft. So, I don't know what the hell they think. You will be shocked to hear. Prove what, my dear? Prove what? Did you see the pic of the two of them with the red dog? Older, yeah, yeah. There's actually two different dogs that they no longer have. Right? Chris got rid of 4 wives. You got a point. You got a point. I stand corrected. You got a point.
Around the house on the 25th, the 24th, or seen in the neighborhood or anywhere in the area prior to the
No, nobody's ever.
Hold on, we have a late one. We have a late one. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Got to do this. Where is my late slip when I cannot find it? Mary, to the office, please. You're being paged. Mary, to the office, please. You're being paged. We need a late slip for Mary Rogers. Late slip for Mary Rogers. Mods, please and thank you. Late slip. Thank you. I'm great. How are you, Ann? Thank you so much for asking. I think Four Wives probably got rid of him. Yeah, you got me. You got me. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Right.
Never really mentioned him. The only person that's ever said anything about him coming home, like I said, nobody really ever paid attention. I don't think, because even the neighbor that lives close by that I'm friends with, I asked her, like, did you ever see? She said, I never really paid attention because, like, he would come and go, and they never were out really, and they had this camper, and the camper would leave, and then it would come back, and then, he never came outside. And it's odd because Chris kept saying that he would go outside and play, and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, I don't remember ever seeing him really outside playing. Like, there's no playground. They don't have a playground outside. They don't have a trampoline outside. Like, if you looked at their yard, you wouldn't even know. There's no bike. There's no, like, scooters. There's no basketballs. You wouldn't even know they have kids. There's nothing in their yard to play with. He's never outside. Like, he didn't go outside and play catch with his dad. Nothing.
Interesting. Now, as you said, pitch black in the neighborhood. Do you buy it where they're claiming that this kid walked out the front door and kind of
No.
bad neighborhood?
No.
No,
because everybody around the camera.
Would a kid go out at night and walk around out there at night alone?
I don't think so. I mean, unless their parents didn't. Now, we did have a ding dong ditch happen a couple years ago, but no. I mean, I've never experienced
this. Sebastian was scared of the dark. He was scared of the dark. He didn't like getting dirty. This is coming from the lips of the mother of this child, right? First news interview. He didn't like to get dirty. Scared of the dark. Then you would have to agree, Chris and Katie, that for him to leave on his own accord, which I don't believe he did, in my opinion, it would have had to have been a dire, dire circumstance. Right? It would have had to been. Otherwise, why the hell would he leave if he was scared of the dark? He didn't go scared of bugs, allergic to grass. I would suspect he would be the type that would be cold easy as well. That's just an assumption. But he would seem, he's really skinny. And I would suspect he would be the type that would get cold very easy.
Kids just randomly walking around the neighborhood. That's the thing about our neighborhood, is it's so quiet. Like at night, literally, like, in the summertime when my kids were younger. Sorry, my car shut off for me.
Nicolina says, in my defense, my yard is spectacular. No bikes, scooters, toys, junk, etc. Backyard that's fenced in, had trampoline, etc. I am a tyrant about my yard. Yeah, but you have like a trampoline in your backyard and stuff, right? Had trampolines, etc. I am a tyrant about my yard. Like, your kids have bikes, right? Trampolines, swing sets, playhouses, all of that. No, Debbie, you can't. It won't accept you to put an email address in. But you can email me if you want. Right. scooters, things like that. Basketball hoops, baseballs, frisbees, uh, something. But they didn't have anything in the front or the backyard. Like, did he even have a bike or a scooter or anything like that? What would Sebastion even do outside with none of that stuff? Just stand and walk? I mean, I guess.
For something. My kids were younger. They would go outside and play like flashlight tag and stuff like that. And I'd have to get on to them like, okay, 10 o'clock, y'all need to be done because everybody's got to go to bed and whatever. Nobody ever gets like, you don't ever just see random kids walking around by themselves. I don't buy that at all. And I know that neighbors that are right around them said that there was nothing on their cameras.
Nothing. So no evidence whatsoever for that morning,
No.
26, and not even the 25th, the night of the 25th. Wow.
So, meaning they don't see Sebastion leaving, they don't see any cars leaving until, of course, Katie leaves that morning. Nothing. No, Jen, they don't have a pool. No. I'm just saying that isn't something I would use. Oh, no. It's nothing. I mean, I'm not saying that it makes them, bad or anything, but they say that they kind of contradict themselves, Nicolina, in my opinion. Is they say Sebastian's favorite thing to do was play on a playground, right? All of that, but he hated outside, right? I mean, they just kind of contradict themselves quite a bit, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, it doesn't, I mean, just because you don't have a swing set outside or, a bike doesn't mean you did something to your kid. Trust me, I'm not saying that at all. But it just makes you wonder, like, the kid, they said, at Chris and Katie's house, I mean, he had a phone, but he could, only call people that was in his contacts. He had no internet. Okay, so this is my question. At home, when he was at Chris and Katie's, he wasn't able to play on, I guess, his Nintendos, right? Anything like that. What the hell did he do? Like, what the hell did he do? If you can't play on your Nintendos or anything. Well, maybe because they said he could play maybe his Nintendos, but it wasn't. Well, was it? It wasn't out. It wasn't online, maybe.
Do you think law enforcement?
He just vanished. He literally just vanished.
What's your theory? What do you think? What do you think happened? What's your theory? Based off you being a neighbor, based off you speaking to other neighbors, you're very close to the area. You've seen law enforcement over there. What do you think happened?
I have to be very careful with that one. I know there were some family issues, like there were some personal stuff going on within the family between Katie and Chris. Seth told us, that he was supposed to get full custody. One minute he says that Katie was okay with it. The next minute I'm hearing that Katie was not okay with it. I don't.
I mean, now this is something I believe that is a point of contention in their marriage. So, again, Chris clearly said he did not want Sebastian around his daughter. He is trying to get full custody of Faith, right? Katie is 1 minute saying okay, the next minute saying not okay, and then then Chris is talking to Seth, wanting Seth to take Sebastion, right? And then just move Chris's daughter in with them. I mean, how do you think that's going to go over? How do you think that's going to go over? You want to kick my kid out to live with his dad, but you want me to take care of your daughter 24/7. Why can't we have them both here? Well, that's because Chris says he didn't want Sebastion around. Why would they give him full coverage? What do you mean, Jill? Thank God for the neighborhood Karen spilling the tea.
Know their personal story. I know that neighbors are close by them heard fighting with
Well, it pisses me off that when Chris moved in with Katie and Sebastion in California, Sebastion had 2 cats. He had to get rid of the 2 cats, right? They moved to Tennessee. They have 2 dogs, right? Both dogs are gotten rid of. Now they have 2 Morkies, and they got Faith a dog. And Chris had like 27 serpents. One of them was Sebastion's. Made him get rid of all of them, right? And then gets his daughter an animal. Throws his stuff out from his room if it's not picked up to Chris's liking. Like, that is heartbreaking. I don't know how anybody can defend that. Me either, Grace. Listen, I don't like snakes. Snakes is one of the things that I cannot stand. I'm not scared of spiders, anything else like that. But snakes, oh my God, I don't like them. But that's not the point. Others do, right? You know, I would never have a snake in my house, I don't think, like, right? But that was something Sebastion liked, and it was given to him. It was given to him. And you just take it away. That's just not cool.
in their family outside, verbal things that were said outside. So I don't know that it was, I think there
I
were some
agree, Jill.
struggles within the family. I mean, every family has issues. I get that, but I don't know.
They did
Families
get her
typically would get into that.
well, people say it's Faith's dog. Chris said he was going to go pick up a dog from the airport. They did get the dog. So I don't know if it's actually Chris's dog and he's, saying it's Faith or whatever, but Tar says, not in my house. Hell to the no, no, no. Since I discovered the similarities, it looks like I can't look at CP the same way. You think John Wayne Gacy and Chris looks a lot alike? Let me look. Hold on.
Kind of a dispute outside. I mean, if I was going to have a conflict of interest between my kids and I, or my husband and I, we would be inside. I wouldn't be outside making that known. And apparently there were some situations where things were heard that weren't good.
Bobby, when did those fights occur? Do you know?
When we over the past, I mean, I guess since they've been there, like, periodically. It wasn't like a one-time thing. There were other, times where things were said and that kind of thing. I don't live close enough to them to have heard that. I mean, they would have to have screamed at each other for me to have heard that. I didn't hear it, but I know that neighbors around them have reported hearing things that were said outside, and it wasn't like a one-time thing.
Any cops ever get called?
Well, I mean, CPS was called multiple times, and I know teachers personally that still work at Beach that were told things and they had to report it. I mean, when a teacher is told, counselors and teachers are told things, they by law have to report it. And I know that absolutely. And I know that, kids can be over exaggerating. I know that, especially teenagers, that kind of thing. I think for me, I think my kids would be respectful enough with us that if something happened, I don't think they would go and say, like, my mom is mean to me. Like, they know that's not true, and they would get in trouble for lying. So for him to make up that things that he was saying, I can't imagine him making certain things that were set up enough for CPS to be called on them. And I know they were called multiple times.
Multiple times. So when you say multiple, how many times?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm not privy to that information.
Has any neighbors or anybody tell you that they've seen the CPS at their house? Like,
I don't know. They have not actually used the words "I've seen them at the house," but they've told me that there have been people that have visited an official. Like, I don't know. Like, the car that comes is not going to have CPS written on it. Yeah. I mean, it may have a government official, like, license plate or something like that. And they're not going to have they're going to have a badge on them as they go to the front door, but it's not going to be something that a neighbor is going to see, that kind of thing. So I don't know, like, neighbors haven't said, like, I have seen this happen, because they were really paying attention. I don't think it was one of those things where I don't think neighbors, like, after this has happened, some of the neighbors are going back and saying, wait a minute, I remember this, and I do remember that, and I do remember this, and oh wow, this is like all connected.
Okay, we're going to play a game. The game is called Gacy or Nah. What do y'all think? Someone just said he looks like Gacy. Hold on, let me take this off. What do you think? Separated at birth. Hold on. Oops. 1 second. I mean, I can see the resemblance. Yeah. Them two top pictures are the same. When did Gacy go to prison? When did Gacy go to prison? Oh my God. Looking like T. Gacy slightly resembles the nose, lips, and mouth. The nose is very similar, yes. That is true. Lips, very similar. Face, I think it was the 80s. Miss Bowerfoot. Did you happen to know Gacy? (1978) was arrested. Maybe it's not seeing their. Maybe it's not seeing. I mean, I see the nose particularly. Right. See how it's. And see how it's. I mean, very similar nose. Face shape is very similar. Chris has full lips, and so does high creep factor. Someone just said, "Oh my God, Justin, I seen John Wayne Gacy, and I cannot see." I think it was Titch. I cannot unsee it now. I can't look at CP the same again. I bet he has this personality. Seriously, twins. Maybe hold on. Wait, oh, wait, what'd I do? 1 second. Let's do it like this. Let's see. 1 second. I got a plan. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Now, how about now? Is that better? I think it works. I think it works. Okay. Just making sure. Let's see here. I mean, maybe brothers, maybe cousins, maybe brothers. After seeing that, I need some clam juice to clam my nerves. Oh my God, the stuff y'all think of sometimes, I'm telling you, it's just so crazy. It's That's kind of true though. It kind of does resemble him. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He could have hit 14 people in the clown. Oh my God, y'all are crazy.
But when it happens over a year period of time and it's just random, but then nothing really ever comes of it, you just kind of try to stay in your own lane and mind your own business because you're not hearing, like, I don't know that neighbors heard screaming or like, I don't know that it was like the things that were being said outside were loud enough to make neighbors call. I don't think it was that kind of like if a neighbor next.
Hey Gina, who are you talking about? Or Bear, sorry. And Gina, I guess. Who are we talking about on that one? Hold on, we have a late one. We have a late one. Katie! Wrong one. Jenny, to the office, please. Jenny, to the office, please. Jenny from the block, to the office, please. You're being paged. We have a late slip.
To me, I heard a kid screaming, "Help me!" Don't whatever. I would be calling the police. Like, okay, I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna call the police and be anonymous. It wasn't that kind of a thing. It was things that were said and arguments between them that made neighbors think, "Gosh,
Well, when you say that, are we talking Chris and Katie, or is Seth in the picture too? Is it like, were there arguments with Seth there?
I don't think Seth was ever there long enough. I think he was there long enough to pick Sebastian up for his weekend, or they would meet somewhere for his weekend or something like that. I don't think that Seth was ever there. I think it was mostly the one neighbor.
I mean, Seth lived quite a ways away from them. I think it was what, an hour and a half,
Told
something
me
like
that
that.
she heard, and I'm not going to go into a lot of whole big detail because I don't want to get into their whole personal life. It's not my place. But a neighbor had told me that.
Oh, got you, Gina. It's really sad. Um, hopefully, that they find her, whoever did this to her, very soon. Sounds like an hour away. Thank you for that. It sounds like she might have, got with some guy or something and the wrong hands.
There were things that were said between, like, Chris and Katie would get into an argument, like in the driveway, and then Sebastian might come outside and Chris would raise his voice at him, either get inside or what are you doing out here, or make comments to him like that. And like I said, it wasn't like I'm going to kill you or I'm going to beat your butt. It wasn't like such a horrible thing to make a neighbor call 911. It was just a very like abrasive
Mhm.
enough to now.
Titch, you remind me of an actress. I can't think of her name. I don't know her name, but she would star on Will and Grace every once in a while. I can't think of her name. I don't think I look like anybody myself, like anybody else. I don't know. Um, when I'm pale, people would say Ellen DeGeneres. But I don't think I look like anybody. Was there a female missing in Hendersonville that was actually found? Remains. Ginger Snap. In the beginning of this stream, we talked about Trinity Bostic, the girl that was found yesterday. Which she wasn't identified. She was reported as a female, 105 pounds, and they discovered that it's 17-year-old Trinity Bostic. Oh, thank you, Janier. They say we all have a look-alike. I mean, I don't think I look like anybody. No, it's not Karen. No, I know Karen. She was just an actress that came on every once in a while. Let me see if I can find it.
That he's missing, they go back and think, oh,
So that's kind of
maybe
like that was the kind of what you were saying when the neighbors kind of put these pieces together after the fact.
right. It's one of those things that you go back and look and think, oh, okay, so maybe there was something to that. I just didn't realize it.
Have you ever heard anything about the mattress in the garage?
I have, and I have not been able to confirm that. I did hear that, and the neighbor next to them, when the garage door would come up for her to leave, they saw a mattress in the garage. And well, I mean, Chris admitted that there was a mattress in there. Now he said it was for his daughter, so maybe, but why is it still in there? I don't know. No idea.
Yeah, they said on Nancy Grace that they got a new bed set after Sebastian missing. But then people are also that it's punishment. Did you? And I'm not
That's what I
talking
heard too.
about the punishment aspect about Sebastian sleeping in the garage for punishment. Have you heard that?
I did hear that, but I can't confirm it because I have not talked to the neighbors that live next to them that were the ones that said that. I don't know for a fact they said that. But my thing is, and again, I'm not trying to put anything blame on them at all because I don't know them, don't know anything about their personal story, have no idea. I can't confirm any of this, but I just know that I'm surprised that the mattress has been in the garage that long. I mean, if the mattress is for your child, wouldn't it have been put away or put in the, I mean, why is it still in the garage and not in the child's bedroom? And two, the daughter, Faith, I don't ever remember her being there. Like, if she was there, I mean, maybe once, one summer, I mean, I'm just surprised that she would have a brand new mattress if she's not there very much. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she didn't even have a mattress, and that's the first one.
You spoke earlier about a silhouette and a light
Oh,
inside
yeah.
the house. Talk a little bit about that. Some people were asking that in the chat. What's that all about?
Okay,
I found it.
so if I go back,
Molly Shannon, that was her name. Molly Shannon on Will and Grace. Person, but you do remind me so much of British comedian Alan Carr. God. I love Alan, but damn, he's busted. I do love him. He's so funny, but he's busted. You calling? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so sweet.
back to day one and kind of rehash a little bit, trying to make this as short as possible. The neighbor close by that saw Katie out front on the way to taking her kids to school, she was the one that called me. Friends, I'm good friends with her. She's the one that actually called me and told me what was going on. And said that I said, well, what happened? And she said, well, I went and asked Katie what happened, and she said, and this is where the story gets totally misconstrued. I don't know. Again, third party. I'm hearing this from another third party source, so I trust this lady. She's a good friend of mine. There's no reason why she would lie. But she said what Katie
James.
they had gotten home from Texas Roadhouse, took the trash out, so on and so forth. Sebastian was in his room. She was in the kitchen, I guess, getting whatever done.
Yes. Spirit
And
fingers.
from her house, she's close enough to where she can see from the Ring camera, like the lights inside, because it's dark. So I mean, if you have lights on, you can see it. And so she said that she could see the lights in the house around 10 or
Listen to
so.
this.
Then Katie told her that Sebastian was in her room. She was in the kitchen. She said, you need to go to bed. And he said,
Listen to this.
okay.
Listen to this. This is
Katie
important.
told her that Sebastian was in her room. She was in the kitchen. She said, you need to go to bed. And he said, okay. And she goes in the living room and does whatever, watches TV. She says she was studying. I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. She was in the living room for whatever reason. And suppose she told my neighbor that she fell asleep and
Say that again. You broke up. Say it again. You broke up.
She this thunk, and she yelled across the house and said, Sebastian. And he said, yes, mom. And she said, are you okay? He said, yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Go to bed. And she said, okay. So she gets up, and my neighbor said, you can actually see his light go off, her walking across the house, her light go off, and then a silhouette come up to the window for a minute. And then everything just goes black.
Now, let's think about this a second. Let's go back.
My neighbor that she fell asleep and
Say that again. You broke up. Say it again. You broke up.
This thunk,
Katie hears a thunk.
and she yelled across the house and said, Sebastian. And he said, yes, mom. And she said, are you okay? He said, yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Go to bed. And she said,
Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Go to bed. Now, she is supposedly, I guess, in the kitchen at this time. In the kitchen at this time as she's walking, I guess, to her bedroom.
okay. So she gets up, and my neighbor said, you can actually see his light go off, her
Okay, his light goes off.
walking across the house, her light go off, and then a silhouette come up to the window for a minute. And then everything just goes black.
What?
Okay, now this is interesting. Let's hold on. Let's look at this. All right, let's look at this. we're going to do a little bit of something here. Where did it go? Okay, let's assume that this is true. Now, this is a combination of what Katie told the neighbor when she was taking her kids to school, and from the neighbor's footage of that night. Now, there are no leaves on the trees or anything this time of year. So, right here, this would be Sebastian's bedroom, right? Front door, dining room. This is, I believe, the washroom or the bathroom. I can't remember. All right. So Katie walks along. I guess she's in the kitchen. Let's hear that again. Laundry room. Okay, that's what I was thinking. It was the laundry room. Guys, come on. Can we get some thumbs up? Come on. Come on. You do thumbs up. It just takes less than a second, if you don't mind. You look like our Justin. Oh, thank you. Hey, Jude. That's so sweet. I love you. Thank you, my dear. Thank you for your support. All right. Let me replay this again. 1 second so we can hear this. Because I've got this written down.
What time was that again? Because you cut out.
So walking across the house, her light go off, and then the silhouette off. So she gets up, and my neighbor said you can actually see his light go off. And
Say that again.
She was in the kitchen. She said house around 10 from the ring camera, like the lights inside, because it's dark. So I mean, if you have lights on, you can see it. And so she said that she could see the lights in the house around 10 or so. Then Katie told her that Sebastian was in her room. She was in the kitchen. She said, "You need to go to bed." And he said, "Okay."
Okay.
And she goes
Sebastian is in his room.
That Sebastian was in her room. She was in the kitchen. She said,
Sebastian in his room.
"You need to go to bed." And he said, "Okay." And she goes in the living room and does whatever, watches TV. She says she was studying. I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. She was in the living room for whatever reason. And she told my neighbor that she fell asleep and
Say that again. You broke up. Say it again. You broke up.
This funk. And she yelled across the house and said, "Sebastian." And he said, "Yes, Mom." And she said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Go to bed." And she said, "Okay." So she gets up, and my neighbor said you can actually see his light go off, her walking across the house, her light go off, and then a silhouette come up to the window for a minute. And then everything just goes black.
What time was that again? Because you cut out.
I'm sorry. I know my son was calling me.
I'm going to find the note.
Okay,
1
so
second.
she woke up around 11:30 is what she told my neighbor, that she woke up about 11:30, and apparently he was still up. But I find it odd because my thought is, and again, none of my business. I just think, okay, put yourself in that position. If I have a child who's got special needs and I hear a thump, I'm going to walk into my child. No, let me put it this way. My kids are all very healthy and normal. I'm very blessed to have very healthy kids. But if it's 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night and my kid has to be up at 6 the next morning, I'm going to be in their room yelling at them and taking their electronics away and telling them,
Same.
go to bed now. That I would be walking in my kids' room. Even where my kids are now, healthy and average children, whatever, no problems. If I heard a thunk, I'm probably still going to go in their room and ask, like, what in the world was that? I wouldn't just stay. But, hey, maybe she trusted him.
Okay.
Maybe she thought it was no big deal. I don't know, whatever. But she,
All right, now let's look at this. All right. I was told by a close by neighbor the morning she saw Katie outside with police when she went to take her kids to school. She stopped and she asked what happened. Katie told her she told Sebastion to go to bed at 9 o'clock. She fell asleep on the couch, never mentioning the conversation between her and Chris. She woke up at 11:30, went to check on Sebastion, which she previously said she didn't do now that he's older. He must have been awake because his light or a light was on, according to the neighbor's Ring camera. She said she told Sebastion to go to bed. He had to get up the next morning. She walks across her house to her room to go to bed. Okay. As she's walking through the kitchen, she hears a loud noise. She hears a loud noise. She yells back at Sebastion and asks him what that was. He says, nothing, Mom, go to bed. So she does. According to the neighbor close to them, the Ring camera shows the light going on and off because it's so dark. The neighbor also mentioned seeing a silhouette in front of the room, possibly the dining room window, for a couple minutes. Then all the lights go off. Neither Chris nor Katie has ever mentioned any of this. All right. So we're going to do this. All right. Bear with me a second. All right. So here's Sebastian's room. Okay. This is the dining room, right? Okay. So Katie is seen walking this direction, right? And when she's like in the kitchen going to her room, she hears this thump, this thud. This is the first story. First story. And when she hears the thud, which it would have to be a loud thud, in a kitchen across the house, there would have to be that would have to be a big thud, wouldn't you think? Don't you think? Okay. So Katie yells for Sebastion. Let's just see here. And then she goes to bed. Oops. And then the lights all the lights go off, but you can still see a silhouette of someone here in the front room for a couple of minutes. She most likely talked to Katie after Katie got back. School doesn't start until 8. The kids have to be there at 7:30. No, I know Alan Carr. Yeah. I know who Alan Carr is. Yeah. Yeah, he's like a late night spokesperson. I am familiar with British television. I'm one of probably the few Americans, but I love British humor, so very close with your neighbors. We watch out for each other. So she was on the phone and asleep and reading? Well, according to the first statement, where was that comment? Where was that comment? That said, so she was on the phone. Okay. According to the first time she told her neighbors, there was no 3-hour phone call. So he's just as likely to have no head injury. Seems odd to mention a thud. If not, yes. Yes. And this is at 11:30. She supposedly wakes up, goes into Sebastian's room. He's still awake. Do you think she could have went in there and she fell asleep for whatever reason and she wakes up and he's awake and someone just snaps because he's not asleep? Is that possible? Why don't any of the neighbors have sons? Like, what do you mean? What kind of sons? Yes. Hey, Jude. I believe that they're telling us something happened. They're just saying they don't know what happened, but they're working a thud into this. You know, Katie just wakes up at 11:30. Sebastian was supposed to be in bed hours prior. Yard signs, like, do you mean like for security? We definitely Seth was a stay-at-home dad. That don't make no sense because Chris said she was on the phone and sleep and told her to go to bed. Yes, he told her to go to bed because she was falling asleep. Slightly falling asleep. Oh, as missing child sons. I mean, I think the neighbors, I don't want to speak for all of them, but the ones that I've spoke to, they just don't seem to feel like he's missing in the sense of he walked out on his own. I think whatever happened, I think there had to be a snap. Because I believe the thud is, I do believe there was a sound of something, because I don't think she would have said it otherwise. I think they will always give us something, some truth into that, right? But she doesn't know what the sound is, whether, she went in there or not. There's this thud. And I think that thud is important. Very important. I've thought about that too. I've thought about that too. Only in case the neighbor heard something, like the flashlight thing. Sebastian hitting the floor or wall during altercation. Something happened in that house, in my opinion. I think at least one person knows. Guys, I hate to do it, but I have to end it here. I have to go do something for an hour. I will be back at 8 or 8:30. And we will continue to discuss things. I might be on Hey Sweet Tea rather than Clutch Them Pearls. Okay. So make sure you are subbed up to Hey Sweet Tea. We might be speaking over there. So make sure I'll have a video coming out within the next 2 days. It sucks to edit. Oh my God, it sucks to edit. But I'll see you guys on Hey Sweet Tea. I think someone snapped over food because they talk so much about it. Did he, yeah, could he have went and got snacks, was in there eating, threw a fit? You never know. All right, guys, love you all. I'll be back in an hour. Loves. Bye-bye.